Blog Talk Radio.
The views and opinions of this show do not reflect the views and opinions of Wiki Media or its affiliates. Wiki Media, changing the world you listen to. Any music featured on Wiki Media programs is used with the express written consent of the artist, owner, or distributor. Coming to you live from the Wiki Curiosity Studios in Knoxville, Tennessee, it's Behind the Screen Radio Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of Behind the Screen Movie of the Week. I am your host, Dan. Joining me in the studio tonight is the lovely Miss Angel.
Hello.
And Austin.
Hello.
And you can join us as well. All you got to do is call in 718-664-9735. Again, 718-664-9735. That'll bring you directly into the studio with us. We are also streaming live on Behind the Screen Radio Show Facebook page. You can hit us up there. Just write a comment in the section. We'll get it and we'll answer. Speaking of the Facebook page, while you're there, give it a like, share, and follow. Be kept up to date on everything going on in BTS land. Also, head on over to Wiki Curiosity Media's Facebook page. Give them a like, share, and follow. Be kept up to date on everything going on in Wiki Curiosity Media land. From the Facebook page, you can access the website, www.wikicuriosity.wixsite.com/WC On the website, you can check out all of our pictures, all of our blogs, all of our shows, information about our shows, and all that good stuff. You can also access all of our shows from the very, very beginning of when we started on any Wicked Curiosity platform. Whether it was Wiki Curiosity Radio Network or Wiki Curiosity Media. You can go all the way back to the very, very beginning, the very first Behind the Screen Radio show, and listen to all of them. We're also on iTunes. If you would like to check us out on iTunes, just type in Wiki Curiosity Media. It'll pull up all of our shows. They are in alphabetical order. And newest shows are down at the bottom of the list.
I ain't got one of those fruit phones.
No. Android, robot phones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Nope.
Dead land? Okay.
Okay. Anyway, YouTube. We've got a channel. Go on and check it out over there. I am in the process of downloading all of our live, or most of our live streams from Facebook onto YouTube. I will be doing that this week, finishing up that and catching us up to date on that. But there are some videos over there that you can check out. So go check it out. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I even went slow and it only took me 5 minutes.
Proud of you.
Hey, I was trying to stretch it out.
You
Listen,
did the website.
I did do the website.
Jaded.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm kind of excited because there's a lot
It's
of...
white noise at this point.
It just kind of stumbles out of the mouth at this point too. It's just kind of a, blah.
There's a lot of fun facts in this show tonight.
There is.
Very excited.
I looked up a lot of facts, not fun facts, but yeah.
So,
So
it's Sunday.
it is Sunday. It is either the end of the week or the beginning of the week, depending on which calendar you look at.
And I guess to incite
American.
some conversation, it is Super Bowl Sunday.
It is Super Bowl Sunday. Yes.
If you are listening and watching the Super Bowl, who are you rooting for? Let us know.
Yeah.
We're rooting for nobody because we don't fucking care.
Yeah, I guess the Buccaneers, because Florida's cool.
Yeah.
They're gonna drown.
like-
They're gonna drown, and we gotta give them some.
I'm going for the team that doesn't have Tom Brady.
That would be the Chiefs.
There we go. I'm
Yeah.
going for the Chiefs.
I'm just not
Cheater.
a big Tom Brady fan. Look,
I didn't know he was still playing football.
yeah.
He now plays for them.
He plays for the Buccaneers now.
They went to the Super Bowl. I can't say shit.
Yeah. Well, so
It's a weird season.
it is. I'm not a fan of Tom Brady. I don't know much about him personally.
Obviously.
Well, no, I mean about his personal life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't really follow it.
Because I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, people follow him close, and he's not an abuser, so.
Well, I mean, this is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
And I know that he's done charity work and all this, you know, all the bullshit that, you know, these top of the food chain players do. Some of it's, you know,
Listen.
some of it's for PR, some of it's really what they want to do.
I'm literally a stone cold fan. I am only a fan of one team. I don't care about other teams. My team didn't go to the Super Bowl. I don't care.
Yeah.
And while we are there on that subject,
Did the Chiefs get to keep their
I'm very
native shit?
I'm very
Yeah.
disappointed
Yeah,
in
the city
Seahawks fans that questioned not only Pete Carroll but the NFL in how the scandal that just happened was going to be handled. We all knew Pete Carroll was not going to let that man stay on that team, and for the sake of PR, the NFL was going to release him, and they did. So I'm not going
Fuck
to.
up, you get punished.
Yeah, I'm not going to put his name out there because he doesn't deserve it.
No.
But he was a Seahawks player. Was he new this year?
I don't.
Because I hadn't really ever heard of him.
I don't think he was a first string. You know, but I mean, he wasn't one of the ones that was in the limelight.
True, but Pete Carroll does not suffer woman beaters,
No, but
drug
look,
users.
look,
Like, if
look.
you fuck up to that point, you're gone. And I knew it was going to happen. I never questioned it. There was
No.
never a doubt in my mind that he would be punished.
Yeah.
Whether it was through the NFL or through the Seahawks, we all know that Russell Wilson isn't going to have something like that attached to his name and his team.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, for everything that they are, the Seahawks, and a lot of the NFL teams, if you look at it, a lot, you know.
I would assume so. I only focus on the Seahawks.
Right.
And I know that they are a very moral team.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of teams out there that are, you know, big moral teams. Like if you do something, if you make a small mistake, it's okay, here's your fine.
A
Here's
drunk
your
driving
suspension.
incident, you got caught using some drugs and then got help. Like, there's some different things. But
Yeah.
this man had pictures all over. She was not shy about telling her story. And he 100% beat the hell out of her. And he deserved to let go.
He deserves to be in jail.
Where do we draw the line in the sand? They get to keep their fucking obvious stone arrowhead as their symbol.
I don't
But the other
think that
people
there is
can't
a line
have-
in the sand.
But the
I
other
think-
people can't have fucking names that no one cared about.
That was the thing, though. It only mattered to white people.
Okay, so yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
It only mattered to
Right.
white
So
people.
I'm gonna put my opinion on that controversy. So
Just these white people.
So the controversy we're talking about is the Chiefs
Representative.
and the Redskins.
Yeah.
Is what we are talking about here at the table.
The Washington football
Yes,
game.
sir, Mr. White People. You and I shall discuss. I, the native people, you, the white people. Let's go.
So I'm white and I'm not allowed to have a voice.
No, I'm saying share your voice so that we can
Okay.
discuss.
Okay. So well, that was the way that you were talking.
I was teasing.
Okay.
Let us discuss.
We were newsacre.
Yes.
So I'm going to go two different ways. I'm going to go the way of the general public thinking, then I'm going to go my way of thinking.
Okay.
So when you have the whole cancer, it is a cancer, cancel culture that we have,
Yeah.
And we have the, oh my God, I'm offended for everybody else.
Mhm.
The term redskin is a derogatory term. It is a derogatory term
Yeah.
that was used by white men back in the early back in the early days when
There's
we first
so many
started.
derogatory terms.
Yeah, there are. But it was one of those derogatory terms that was used. And with it being a derogatory term, I can see from a certain point of view taking the name Redskins out because of the.
Yeah, but it's just
To
like
a point, but
elephants at a
most-
zoo. Like all of a sudden this just happened, and then people are like, "Why the fuck did this happen?"
It's
And then
the
it turns out there was like some 10% of people, 10% of football
Right.
fans, not even 10% of populace,
Right.
that were just like, "We gotta get something. We gotta do something about this."
And I would
And I
say
get it,
definitely
yeah.
the younger generation of new extremists within our culture, because 90% of us, I'm 42 years old. 90% of us didn't care. The Redskins, we didn't care.
Yeah, you didn't even look at it as a native.
I didn't. I used to have
native team.
this freaking wallpaper in my bedroom. I didn't put it there. It was there when I moved in. It's called the Huddles.
Uh-huh.
A little native redskin running around on my walls. I never really thought of it though as anything derogatory. Shit, I grew up with a very blatantly kind of sort of racist grandparent who would call me an engine baby and tell my mom to get her engine babies under control.
Yeah, I don't want people to shut down Peter Pan because it says the word engine.
But
Right.
do you see, it's a shitty term because I heard it so often. And all I could think was, man, if anybody ever calls one of my kids that, like, I'm going to punch somebody in the throat.
Right, and
It's rude.
I completely understand that. I'm just trying. So the name change for the Redskins has been a debate for the past couple years.
It really didn't bother me, though.
And I get that, but society, it has been a debate for the past couple years, and all of a sudden, the pandemic hit, everybody shut down, and that
Everybody got bored.
it was actually the perfect time. If you look at it, it was actually the perfect time for Washington to be able to change everything that they're doing because
Kind of. This cancel culture ruined a lot of things. Toledo Lakes, that little Indian girl was pretty. I loved my butter.
If it was going to be like multiple years of discussion on this, though, they should have at least.
It's been going on forever.
They should have at least let them think of a name.
It's kind of like there was
Yeah.
a baseball team, too, that ended up changing.
Well, the thing is we still have the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
But
But the Braves.
right. And I
Imagine
understand
the amount of people that have that tattoo that no longer exists.
the Redskin tattoo.
Where's money? Cut it off their skin.
Yeah.
But the thing is now we look at the other side of it, and I'll be honest, I don't know of one native, whether they're pureblood or not, that I have seen on my Facebook feed that I've talked to, that anybody that has any type of native blood in them, and that's a lot of people that I know, to be honest.
Right.
They're like, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's literally just a name.
Well, so I have.
It is kind of weird how many native tribes and tribe organizations jumped on this. Looking it
You're
up.
right, and I have a few family members who are very
Liberal?
who are very
You do.
politically outspoken when it comes to Native rights and
Yeah.
issues that are going on in the Native world. And I don't remember. One is very much so because he's very much he was a district attorney for the Navajo Nation,
Yeah.
and so he's very smart when it comes to our politics, and he pays attention. And so he's also very outspoken though. Like, so when things are something that would be offensive, I would expect it to come from his mouth.
Right.
And I don't believe that ever did. I don't think it was just not something that was on our radar. There's so many other things to worry about that was not one of them.
The thing is, there was a bunch of Karens and Richards that were walking around.
They were not native though.
No. That's why I said,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Like,
Karens and Richards. that were like, this is offensive to them, and, you know, we are sticking up for the Native people, and it needs to go.
Well, and much like any culture, whether
any Native tribe, it seemed to be ones around Washington. It seemed to be ones that
because
were
Washington
directly
is super liberal.
affecting the football team,
Yeah.
but not like directly affecting America in general.
One of my issues in that is, and I mean, I'm going to say it's an equal race issue, whether it's European, which we would consider most Caucasians, right? Is more European.
Yeah.
European and really
South African.
I'm trying to put it in a good,
really Western,
in the best terms here.
Russian,
So whether it's
Asian.
any culture, European white, South African white, Native American, any tribe, African American, any tribe or culture within, Spanish American, Mexican American, however you want to label it.
Asian American.
Yes. We don't get to speak for their shit, okay? As a Native American, I'm not going to go to my white husband and be like, this offends you. We need to change it.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It doesn't actually offend me.
Well, this is offensive to me for you.
Yeah, and I can feel offended for him, but I don't get to speak that out. I don't get to change shit for him because that's not my place to change shit for him. Same as I would not expect him to speak on my behalf for me because I have a voice. We all have our voices.
The only way that I can see that you would do that is if you were speaking with them and not for them.
Then that's the issue at hand.
That's the
Stop
big difference.
speaking for people and wait for them to voice their own opinion and then speak with them.
The good news is what Austin was saying is there were Native tribes in and around the D.C. area that were offended by that wanted to change. Yeah. And it, sadly, it took white people getting offended because the natives were offended to have it changed.
Which is some of that equality issue that we see.
Like, is it because it was Native tribes around the Washington area? Was it really that abrasive to like see that symbol on like signs and shit?
No, so there's a lot of chants that come with teams, different teams, and displays that have games, and then you look at the advertisement of the team. Most of it, honestly,
their halftime mascot was skinning someone.
No, it's no different than.
They would scalp someone. That would have been cool, but
it's no different than all of those people who, let's face it, 90% of them were white who were in the stands doing the tomahawk. That was offensive to them, and I can see that.
That can be different, though. I mean, like,
but they knew what it was.
Atlanta Braves.
Right, but you see where I'm coming from. Like,
my school had, chants that the other team wouldn't like.
As cheerleaders, we used to say some mean shit to other cheerleaders all the time.
Yeah, like that. Like, obviously, if there's things like that, that's an easy changeable thing. You can just start chanting something else.
Yeah, absolutely. And
but like a whole name change, that's a whole trademark change.
True, but because that team was a Washington team, and those tribes surrounded that area, they kind of look at it as, it's affecting their culture. And if they didn't like it, okay, fine, I'll go with it. If it offended you and they changed it, and that's great.
Like, it's not affecting anybody now. I
still think it's kind of silly, though. I'm sorry, guys. I do. I think this whole I'm offended about everything thing just is.
The thing is,
there is going to be a line.
What you have to look at is who made the first statement. Was it the natives calling out for change, and it took a white person, or was it
people? I think it was probably some organization that's native-based.
Which is usually a radical issue.
I don't think it was just like people on the street started.
I don't think so either.
I think it was an activist
yeah,
group.
It would be an activist group.
Some actual organization.
And a lot of times it's because they can take the smaller steps. Like, this might be minute to most of us. But for them, it's one small step in saying, we are here, we do have a voice, we're going to make you change this because it's bothersome to us for whatever reason. I'm not even going to say they're being problematic about it, but it is a small step. It's just a chip in the stone. Yeah. But it was still a chip.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it was just kind of It might do something later, but if it doesn't do something later, then it really was just an inconvenience for everyone.
Dan and I have talked about this many times. We've learned this year. Mainstream media will not ever be an honest media for Americans.
No.
I watched
Not unless we started putting laws on it.
I watched some media from other countries that we will never see because they're not telling us what's happening around the world, right?
Right.
So mainstream media will not tell you this. But my tribal friends, and some of them are higher up, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that most society doesn't see. So that chip actually did matter. It's a step because there are big things happening within reservation lands and tribes that Congress, Senate, media, they're never going to tell you about because they don't want you to know.
Yeah.
They don't want you to know there's dissonance in these large tribal areas, but it's happening.
You know, because it's their own land, though. Is it like tribes' fault, or is it something that?
No, it's good. It's tribes that are they're forming. They're fighting back.
Oh, okay.
And we won't ever know that they're fighting back because they don't want us to know.
I think that's something that's happening. Like,
Physically.
There's going to be a coup. There's going to be a rise up. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm
but
just kidding.
within lawmakers and Congress and these treaties and things that are constantly going on that we only hear one side of, tribes are fighting back. And they don't want you to know that because whether we want to believe it or not, there's still a great amount of land in the U.S. that belongs to tribes. And if they wanted to push back, it could be ugly.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, if they did do a queue, though, then we'd be able to call it the council.
The council. I would listen.
The council.
I got your backs. Got you. As long as you're not like killing people. That's why I jumped in there. But I got your backs. Like I will support my tribe 100%. I don't know how everybody else's tribes work. Pretty proud of Choctaws. They've worked really hard just to take care of their people and stay out of kind of
We're one of the 5
the
groups.
shit. Yeah.
I don't remember why that's a thing, but in school.
One of the
that's a
originals.
thing. Yeah.
It's one of the originals.
I don't even think we were one of the. I don't think that's how that works. They all were alive.
They were, but it was one of the original recognized tribes.
Yeah.
So and
We got a cool title for no reason.
Right. So Oklahoma tribes and the Choctaw actually extended to places like Mississippi and I want to say like maybe Missouri. I suck at history, but it extended across like huge area, and then you've got these other tribes. So it was one of the originals.
Yeah, because it's Choctaw,
Cherokee.
Cherokee,
Apache.
Chickasaw.
Is Chickasaw one of them?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Apache.
Not Apache.
No.
That one's
about
always
Sioux?
regarded because it's so famous in American culture, but it's not famous in.
What about
Native
Navajo?
No, it's Shoshone. I think is one of them.
Okay.
I would think
Or-
Navajo would be.
I would
Or
say they're
just-
huge and
it's
still very active.
Yeah.
It's either Shoshone or Shone,
No, it's Shoshone.
and then probably Navajo. I don't think. So.
I don't know. I will tell you, Navajo is one of the greatest voices in Native culture, though. They're very outspoken about their world.
We're called like the 5 civilized tribes of like.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, and Seminole.
Seminole,
Yeah,
which is also right
Yeah,
there.
I was like, you guys were saying these like famous ones, and I was like,
No.
I just those names don't ring.
Right. So Creek is pretty big, though, and so is Seminole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could not remember. I can't ever remember Seminole. I know it starts with an S, but I don't even remember how to say it sometimes.
Pretty funny because our family is literally split down the middle. So my kids and most of my mom's side, my mother and her sister are Choctaw, and that goes under my grandmother. Now, my granny, because our family works differently, who is my grandmother's sister, married from another tribe. And so that whole side of the family is a whole nother tribe. Then we just all kind of
What are they?
converge.
Are they Cherokee?
No, sir.
Because I'm like somewhere in there Cherokee, right?
No,
Some part of
maybe, no. Your papa was Cherokee, but he is not blood.
That's right.
So
Well,
that was fun,
Dad,
though.
I don't get 2.
I know.
I don't get
What
it.
we need to do is send in your DNA thing.
She gets a whole half split. Not really half split.
No.
Yeah, no, because we're Choctaw and Irish. That's kind of our split. And then I'm saying that, but watch Ancestry DNA will come back and be like, nah, you were wrong.
I would love to see how accurate it is.
I would too. I've seen a little. So I actually was watching. I won't lie. I would be interested to see it for myself because there's always been a little bit of question for my own lineage. But
well, we can almost date it back. I can date back the Irish side all the way to Ireland.
I would like to see some of your maternal relatives if they've been on Ancestry DNA.
Yeah.
And I would like to see your lineage. I think it would be fairly interesting.
Because I started doing a little bit of research, and if I'm correct about the names of older family, my last name apparently has not been in America for very long.
No.
And I can track it back all the way to Ireland. And so that side's probably pretty Irish.
Right,
I know
right.
that I'm probably going to be pretty Irish.
I think you absolutely will be. I actually, our youngest daughter, I would love to see her mix.
Yeah, hers would be crazy because yours is crazy.
Yeah. Mine's a mix of French and German and English.
Like, she's a little baby mutt. I love her.
You're like the most white Eastern European you can be.
Western Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just because of compass.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I'm a mix of, all the white European.
All the actual besides I don't think you have any Denmark or Norwegian.
No, I don't have any Norwegian.
Which is the white.
It's mostly French,
because they're
English,
they're snow
German, and I want to say Irish.
Yeah, because the only reason that
maybe some Scottish in there, maybe.
Yeah, the only reason you're white is because it's so rainy over there. So you guys actually tan a lot too, whereas it's snowy and cloudy all the time up in Denmark, and so they're very, very white.
Caddo. Sorry, that is the other trick. Caddo. They're Caddo.
So yeah, you're not the whitest you could be.
No,
you're
no,
pretty there.
no. I'm
I mean, you're pretty Caucasian, but we love you.
I am.
And that's okay though.
It's a
He tans well. He's a great farmer's tan.
You're a Caucasian.
That dad joke.
Oh, boo.
All right. So I think it's time to take a break. And we'll be back.
Behind the screen, we'll be right back.
Strip it down, it's just you and me. You cut me off and say you're tired of talking. It's not as if we can't agree, but you've lost your will to fight. You're packing up all your things to leave, and these will be our last words. Then the chance will be lost, and I ain't too proud. If you loved me, you would hold me and never let me go. If you love me, you would tell me you never want me to be alone. If you cared at all, you would stop and never go. But you just turn your back to me and say, I guess I don't. Now it's 7 years and 1,000 days away from the day we first met. Time has moved on for you, and I can feel If you love me, you would hold me and never let me go. If you love me, you would tell me you never want me to be alone. If you cared at all, you would stop and never go. You just turn your back to me and say, I guess I don't.
Welcome back to Behind the Screen Radio Show.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. If you'd like to call in and talk to us, just dial 718-664-9735. Again, 718-664-9735. That brings you directly into the studio with us, so you can talk to us. You can also message us on our Facebook live stream that is currently going on. Drop us a comment in there, and we will either answer your question on air or on the live stream. So tonight we're talking about another Netflix movie, simply because there really hasn't been a whole lot released.
There hasn't. I wanted to touch real quick because go ahead and say what it is.
Yeah, so we're talking about Enola Holmes.
Okay, so Austin had actually, you and Austin both were talking about the show Sherlock.
Yes.
With Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes.
And because it's been off air for like 3 years.
Yeah.
But BBC has not officially canceled it. Like there's still talk of it coming back. I'm sure he probably had projects going on and COVID.
Well, I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch is MCU.
Yes, he is. So
Doctor Strange.
There has been some chatter.
Yeah.
That it is going to come back for season 5.
That would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah. So BBC works differently than we do, and they don't really care. I mean, we look at the time and span between old Doctor Who and new Doctor Who, and it was still there. There is chatter that it will be renewed, and it has never been officially canceled.
Good. Cool. Okay, so tonight we're talking Enola Holmes. It's a Netflix movie. Came out last year in... Where is it? There it is. Yeah, came out in September of last year, so it's not that old.
It's not. We're just kind of slow on the take.
Well, because we were focusing on newly released movies to theaters and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden COVID hit.
And then we took a break.
And we took a break. So now we're kind of trying to play catch up here.
Yeah, and I think this was a good, kind of a, this movie and the one before with Netflix.
Yeah.
I really think they're good lead-ins just because right now, let's be honest, Netflix has some really good movies.
Yeah. So the basic premise of this story is that Enola Holmes is Sherlock and Mycroft Holmes' sister.
Right.
Like really big, huge age gap.
Yeah.
Like Sherlock and Mycroft were adults when she was just a kid.
Right, and obviously we didn't even know she existed, but we didn't know Mycroft existed at first.
Right. Mycroft was written in some of the later stories.
Right, because Sherlock left and he kind of just did his own thing. He didn't associate with Holmes.
Right. And we only really got to see him a couple times, and I'm talking about like the original stories.
Yeah.
By Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah, it wasn't until Mycroft came to Baker Street.
Yeah.
That we even knew he existed.
And to be honest, Mycroft was kind of
he was a baby.
He was kind of a bumbling idiot.
In the original.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Do you know what's pretty crazy about while we're on Conan Doyle's works?
Huh.
You know that Enola was never in them.
No, she was not.
Neither was a sister. The
right.
sister was never in the original work.
She was written by a different author.
Yeah.
Called the Enola Holmes Mysteries.
By Nancy Springer.
Which was super weird because the first book was called The Cases of the Missing Marquess.
Yeah, this is based off of...
Isn't it Marquise?
Marquess. Marquis is Marquess. This is Marquess.
Marquess, then.
Yeah, no, they say it in the movie. It's Marquess.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's because it's not in French. It's
okay.
English.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't, and Enola was never part. Fun fact, that was a huge part of why it was released so late. I mean, why it only got released in September, but talks of like making a second one were kind of put on hold because, let's see if we can grab it real quick. Yeah, it's right here. So controversy kind of came up around the portrayal of Sherlock Holmes. There was a lawsuit. So the estate of
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle
came out and actually sued Netflix and the original studios that filmed the movie, and then also the writers, because of copyright infringement for using the likeness of Sherlock. And in my fun facts, it talks about them wanting to have like, here it is. It was in June, so we saw the thing come out in September.
Yeah.
So in June, they listed the bosses of Netflix, producers at Legendary Pictures who filmed the movie, alongside Springer, who wrote the book, screenwriter Jack Thorne, director Harry Bradbeer, and publishers at Penguin Random House, among others. And at this time of publication, they were wanting to continue with the trial. What I have read since then is that a settlement was reached, so that they could move forward with the story. But she wasn't part of his books, and so it just that when the two happened, I guess when she wrote the books it wasn't a big deal, but when they decided to make a movie and use Sherlock, they came out and were like,
I don't
no.
think in the books he was mentioned as a thing. It was just the same last name.
Yeah.
I don't even think he was in the books. That's why it wasn't.
I don't know.
Common.
I've never read the books, but yeah, it was a huge controversy for Netflix. We never really heard about, but thankfully they did reach a settlement, and it does look like there are talks of more. Yeah. Because this was a 3-book series.
Yeah. And this is the first time they haven't. This is not the first time that they've had a sister in a thing, because in the BBC show they have Eurus, who is a.
It's another brother, isn't it?
No, it's a sister.
Okay.
I think in the show it was like they thought not only did they not know they had another sibling, but they thought it was a brother, and then they found out, oh, it's a sister.
Yeah, because there are rumors in here that they still think there's another sibling, but it would be another brother.
Yeah. Yeah, and
but it's never been.
They found out that she. Well, no, we found out because Sherlock knew about her the entire time.
Right.
That she's fucking insane, which is not this.
It is not Enola.
No. But in the show, they're also way further into Sherlock's story, which in this he doesn't.
Yeah, he's
have
much
Watson.
older. He's much older in the as we go, both the TV show and movies.
Yeah,
he's much older.
Yeah. Well, so these are like right when he's in his prime, when he is.
Yeah, before Dr. Watson came to him, and
because mostly because of the Reformation, we can figure out that this is around the mid 1880s.
So
1884.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is before Watson.
Yeah.
Before him being very famous.
Well, what they're saying is it's right when he first met Watson. Like, they're not working together.
Yeah.
But because dude's uncle, what was the last name?
Tewksbury.
Tewksbury's uncle served in the Afghan War.
Yeah.
Which was the same war where Dr. Watson was injured and was recuperating right when Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's stories began.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. We didn't see him, but it's assumed that that's around the same time as he met Watson.
Right.
Yeah.
So the basic premise of the story is that Enola Holmes, Sherlock's sister, she's 16, and she wakes up on her 16th birthday and finds out that her mother is gone, and she's freaking out, and she's trying to find out what's going on. And her 2 brothers come back to the estate, and they're trying to figure out, hey, what's going on with, Mother Holmes, Eudora Holmes, played by the fantastic Helena Bonham Carter.
Yes.
Helena Bonham Carter, I'm sorry.
Another thing that's pretty cool about this movie is not only does it have a lot of things that match Harry Potter, but one of those things that matches Harry Potter is that 3 of the strong female roles are from Harry Potter.
Fiona Shaw,
Yeah.
Helena Bonham Carter, and Frances de la Tour.
Who are the last one is my favorite. She's really much older now.
Yes.
But she played the giant woman in
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
Yeah. That's where I knew her from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, then she sets out trying to decipher her mom's clues and.
Well, I think it's important to point out that first 15 minutes of the movie, we see how extraordinary, Enola is.
Right.
She's been trained by her mom, yes, but she's extraordinary in her own right.
Right.
And is able to decipher ciphers amazingly well.
Yeah.
And
So
clues.
Yeah. So the thing is that she's been homeschooled essentially.
Yeah.
She's been reading big adult type books
And secluded.
Since she was 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And she's read all of the greats. She knows physics. She does ciphers and stuff like that. She's got the mind and the brain of Sherlock, how she processes things.
But she's a little more feral.
Yeah, because of her mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's got the best of the two best in the family. The mother, who was a strong female presence in her life,
Yes.
especially in the late 1800s.
She was a strong female fighter
Yeah.
for women.
Yeah. And she was, she taught her daughter, you don't have to be a wife. That's not your role in life.
She taught her to be strong on her own.
And I think that's the only reason that Enola is slightly better than Sherlock, is because Sherlock got all of her smarts, but I think him being a guy, he couldn't get that other side to it. That's
he didn't have the need to be
He didn't have the need.
separate from society.
Well, he didn't have the need to prove himself.
Yeah.
yeah, he just was already smart
And I
because
don't-
of her.
And they
then-
took
Right.
his brains and were like, yes, he's great, he's wonderful. But if a woman came in and did that, they'd be like,
yeah, so
Stop.
she had to kind of double up.
But I don't know. I don't necessarily say she was better than Holmes.
I think so, yeah. One of the
I
other
don't
reasons
know,
that
we
she's
haven't
better,
talked about that.
and
Hold on.
it's in my stuff, is one of the other reasons that she's better than him as well is because Sherlock doesn't like to get into politics. She very obviously likes to get into politics, and that's why she was able to solve the case in days while it took
Well,
months.
I don't know that she liked to get into politics, but she knew more about it. She was coming from the other side.
So the thing is, okay, so I'm actually going to correct you because
Sure.
he said that he did not take the case of the
He did
Marquis
take the case, though.
the
We know it.
Tewkesbury.
Because he tried to solve it. He was lying because he didn't like that it took him so long to solve it. He didn't want to actually take it and actually
Well, he didn't
say that
take
he
it
was
from
taking it.
them. He took it on.
Yeah,
Right.
he didn't want to say that he was taking it because he doesn't like to get into politics.
Right.
And so
But
he was not going to
the thing
take a long
is
time.
with him not taking not quote unquote taking the case, he didn't have access to because so I'm going to put this on the table. I'm going to put the fact that Sherlock is actually still smarter than Enola.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we went over this last night.
I'm going to prove my case here.
He's
Okay.
going to state his case.
I'm going to state my case.
Mhm.
So with Sherlock, okay, number one, he did not have access to the Tewkesbury mansion.
Mhm.
He did not have access to the Tewkesbury case
Mhm.
itself.
Mhm.
Like he distanced himself from it.
Yeah.
And he didn't have all the evidence and the clues and everything,
The inside part.
the inside part
Mhm.
that was needed in order to solve the case.
Yeah.
He still solved the case. Whether it took him longer, hold on.
Yeah, but it took him longer because
Hold
of
on.
pride.
No.
I didn't say she was smarter. I said she was better.
Nope.
Hold on. It took him longer because he didn't have all the evidence.
Of his own doing, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Enola
Mhm.
was not trying to solve the case.
Mhm.
She was not trying to. Okay, at the beginning she wasn't.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When it clicked into her that hey, this guy needs me,
She was.
she was.
Yeah.
The thing is Enola stumbled upon the case.
Yeah.
The evidence was given to her point blank when the grandmother, and spoilers, when the grandmother picked up the shotgun
Mhm.
and shot Lord Tewkesbury.
But
No, I
still,
think she already knew.
it's still of her own volition. that she was able to solve the case.
But she didn't actually solve the case. The case was solved in front of her.
Okay, well, I'm going to put it
Yeah,
this out there then.
because of her.
I'm going to put this out there
It's
then.
not like she actually just tripped into the mansion.
No, but she knew that his life was in danger.
Yeah.
So did Sherlock.
Mhm.
She went to the mansion or the estate to bring him back and be like, hey, basically as bait.
Yeah, but he could have also done that. And the thing is that she's physically smarter,
But
whereas
the thing
he was
is,
like, look at this.
right, but the thing is Sherlock was still able to figure everything out without the clues.
Yeah, but that was his fault.
Okay, so I'm going to put it in a different way.
It doesn't, smarter or not, she's better is what I was saying.
Okay, I'm going to go with Austin's term, but not even better. I think that she had an edge over Sherlock because of her age, because of her fearlessness. He was still constrained by law, by his own, and we'll go with pride, by his own pride in how he conducted his research, things like the way he did things, the Sherlock way of doing things. Because Sherlock is incredibly smart. He's amazing.
Yeah.
However, the edge that she had over him, and I think that we saw it in a few moments of Sherlock, was her fearlessness.
Right.
She dove in feet first into everything and still managed to solve things that still, because he calculated, he was a couple steps behind her throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And I think it was just because she was fearless. It was her age. It was her fear.
She was a perfect woman.
It was her feralness.
Yeah.
I really think it wasn't about being smarter, because I don't think she has a lot to learn.
No, because I think it makes Sherlock smarter that like he's basically over here doing long division and actually working out the math for it, whereas she's sprinting through a short division. She got it done faster and got it done,
but in a more dangerous way
because of her resources.
Right.
But he was able to actually be like solving it.
Right, but I put out to you the fact that if Sherlock would have taken the case officially, he would have had access to.
Yeah, he probably would have solved it pretty fast.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Is he can be smarter all he wants, but I think that she's better.
In this.
I think okay, so I wouldn't say. I still don't agree with you that she's better, because the fact that he did it. Hold on. I'm trying to get out of my thoughts.
I've got it now.
Yeah. Because of the fact that he did not take on the case and still solved it. If he would have taken on the case,
it would have been faster.
Hold on. If he would have taken the case, he would have done it in less time than Enola. It would have taken him half the time that it took Enola.
But it was his fault.
Right. But that does not make her better.
It does.
No,
he has less restrictions.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. He has restrictions in politics, which was what the case was based in.
Well, I think he has restrictions in law. He's an adult. He's a male.
Right.
And he's Sherlock Holmes, so he's well known. He can't just dive in and be crazy because he's Sherlock Holmes. No,
he also specifically does not like getting into politics.
He does.
Okay. But you agreed that if he would have taken the case, he would have done it in half the time that Enola did.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because he's smarter.
Right. But that also makes him better, because if you were to take two cases, if you were to take one case and give it to both of them, and they both agreed and they both had the access to the same resources, Sherlock would come ahead.
True, but I think it's important to point out that as a child,
he restricted himself.
Right. I think it's important to point out that she had restrictions because she's a woman, and it was really hard for her to find a way in anywhere. And two, she's a child. She's a child.
Yeah, she didn't give herself an edge because she was a woman or because she was a child. She found disguises. She found smart ways to get in places, and she made friends to give her.
Yeah, I think that she had. So I think she's better or worse. I don't think she's better or worse.
She also didn't have the
that makes her. That just
she's
makes
a lot
her
more resourceful.
Yes, I will give you that she was more resourceful than Sherlock. But I don't think that this one case can show that Enola is better than Sherlock.
I think if we look at it from the movie point of view and ours, Sherlock saw her as like almost as an equal because she is incredibly resourceful for her age.
Right.
And for her age and the ability to solve what she did not only for her mother, but also for Tewksbury.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say she's better at all, but if we look at age and what's the word?
Social normality?
No.
Maturity?
The amount of times he's already solved cases. Experience.
Yeah.
So age and experience, and then and her, like they might not have even been equal because she's a child. However, like I look at him as looking at her like that's how I would have been.
Yeah.
At that age,
right.
You know, like she is so good.
She is a female version of Sherlock.
Yeah, but she's so good at 16. She's almost scary because if she had been, if you added the years of experience to bring her up to where he is at, she very well could be better.
Right. That's what
because
like your case that you're making about cases is that if they were to have the same case, he would be better if it wasn't in politics.
Right.
But if it was the same case and she was not restricted by gender and also the same age with her own experience built up,
she may be better.
She would have been better.
Right. But the argument was at
this
point.
I think
because the argument was also at this point with the political case.
Right. But the thing is she's still
a child.
Right, but she stumbled upon. She was given the answers.
I feel like it was a stumble because she specifically went there.
Right, but she went there.
So we don't know which one. She didn't know exactly who she was going to be confronting.
No,
she went there to figure it out, and she did.
Yeah.
Well, she figured it out. Yeah. He figured it out without any of that. She figured it out because
the experience happened.
Physical evidence.
Yeah, the experience
of the
happened.
experience.
Yeah.
He figured it out.
Yeah, but she
just by pure logical deduction.
She did will those physical experience to happen, or physical evidence to happen.
Well, yeah, because it could have been any of them, though. And I think for her, it was almost disappointment because when we saw her and Grandma together, they almost kind of bonded a little bit.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I mean, it was kind of sad to realize that it was Grandma that was behind everything and not like the uncle or the brother.
But it makes sense for the time period.
It absolutely, I think you could, it was almost palatable for her and Tewksbury to realize it was a grandmother.
Right. Yeah, one of my favorite lines because there was a couple lines that foreshadow other things in this, but my favorite line that foreshadowed something in this was her saying, a widow's guise turns everybody's eyes, and nobody wants to ask you about death and stuff.
Right.
And so the grandma is wearing black the entire time, and nobody suspects her.
Right. Right.
It's actually a good foreshadowing.
Yeah, so
and I didn't even realize.
With the man with the bowling hat, like I couldn't tell. I really thought he was
It's
a bowler hat.
You can put a bowling ball on.
So when he signaled at the train, I actually thought he was signaling the uncle.
And that's what you were made to think.
Yes.
Honestly.
Not that I thought the uncle was bad guy, because that first moment, like I didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah.
But then as the action started happening, I was like.
Yeah, I didn't know what age the son was supposed to be, so I thought they were looking at the son, and he was looking back at them, and the train was already going, so he got away. I didn't know who that person was supposed to be yet.
Yeah, until the action started, and she was like, there's this guy looking for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then when those things started happening, you're like, for me at least, I was like, ooh, is that the uncle?
Yeah.
Did he do that? That's not right. And then when Sherlock solved it and pointed out that he couldn't have even been in town, and obviously Mom was worried and frantic, and she's probably not the one. So
Did you also catch that the grandma walks up to the tree while Nola's in it, and she says, "Be careful of the branches because they're prone to snapping."
Yeah.
Because she tried to kill.
Yeah, she saw the branch.
No,
She had somebody. She probably had the man in the
somebody else before she hired Hitman, because at that point he would have killed him in the tree.
Yeah.
But she hired somebody to cut the tree. You can see where it was cut slightly and then snapped.
Yeah, you can see where
Which
she
was a
figures it
moment
out.
where Enola figured out that somebody actually tried to kill him, and it wasn't an accidental fall.
Right.
Yeah, she didn't say anything to that, and I looked at it and I was like, that doesn't look like a tree snap.
Yeah, no, that's what I saw.
Yeah, you can see where she rubs her hand on it.
Yeah.
That stuff.
I was like, that's kind of weird.
So, but, okay, so one of the main reasons why I wanted to watch this movie, okay, a couple of the main reasons. So, admittedly, and you already know this, I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan. I have been reading his books since I was a young kid. Even before I started reading Stephen King, I was reading Sherlock Holmes.
I don't like reading, but I do like Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
I will tell you, Sherlock Holmes, if you can actually dive into it and get into it, my favorite one is Hound of the Baskervilles.
Yeah.
That is my favorite. It's my favorite story. But I have always loved Sherlock Holmes. I love the movies with Robert Downey Jr. I think they played great homage to the character of who Sherlock is, and how his deductive reasoning is, and the fact that, yeah, he's a little off his rocker.
Yeah, and he was a drug addict.
He was.
Yeah.
And he was an alcoholic.
Yeah, like,
I mean, he was fucking crazy.
he was definitely a self-medicator.
Something that's not really referenced in any of the Sherlock Holmes and only slightly in Robert Downey Jr.'s.
Yeah. It was the fact that, I mean, he carried a snuff box.
Absolutely.
And we all know what was in a snuff box.
Yeah, it was coke.
Snuff.
It's cocaine.
It was coke.
Yeah.
They stored it.
Snuff.
Yeah.
That's always a big snuff.
Yeah.
That's why they would take it out and go, pinch it and sniff it up their nose. And then the series with Benedict Cumberbatch, it actually took me a little while to be able to watch it because it was a modern version, and I thought it was going to be crap.
But it's BBC, and they did such a
It's
great
BBC,
job.
I don't know why I doubted it.
Right, they did such a great
Yes,
job
they
of the
did.
portrayal.
Yeah,
It was a very Sherlock Holmes-y Sherlock Holmes.
Absolutely.
It was like, that one's way more into like the puzzles and like the science.
Yeah, because you
that
literally
goes
see
into
his brain working in the show.
Yeah.
That one, stark contrast to this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see this because
He's not actually the main character. Actually.
Yeah.
I wanted to see this because I wanted to see how they incorporated a sister aspect into it. Also because, I mean, Millie Bobby Brown's in it.
She's fun.
We know her from Stranger Things and from Godzilla King of Monsters, and she's going to be in Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Yes.
Same Godzilla.
Yeah.
So, quick fun fact. Millie Bobby Brown and her sister Paige are huge fans of the books.
Paige Bobby Brown.
Yep. They approached Nancy Springer with the intention to star and produce the film under their own label.
She actually is a producer. Millie Bobby Brown is labeled as a producer on the movie. But I just ruined your fun fact.
Yeah.
However, Millie Bobby found a financial backer in the form of Legendary Entertainment,
Which
who ended up doing it, and they offered financing while she was filming Godzilla King of the Monsters for the company.
I haven't seen
for this
Legendary
film,
Symbol in a while.
Millie Bobby was paid $6 million for her role and an additional $500,000 as a producer, and is one of the youngest listed producers in the movie at 16 years old.
Yeah, which I think is awesome. If you look at it, $5 million is not a big paycheck for a main character.
$6 million.
$6 million?
Yeah.
Okay, well, $6 million is still not a big paycheck for a main character in a movie.
Right, but $6 million is a fat check for a 16-year-old kid.
Seven-figure job is a lot for a child.
On top of whatever she made for Godzilla King of Monsters, which she was filming around the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you look at, what she gets for
The sex one.
Stranger Things.
And then the sex movie.
Yeah, I think
she's...
it's one of those things that you're seeing is more common now. Like Billie Eilish directs all of her music videos.
Yeah.
Now. That Millie Bobby Brown produced this movie.
Yeah.
It's becoming way more common for people to, and for younger people, but also older people to accept it. That it's like, why wouldn't a child be able to do this if they're smart enough to do the acting?
Right, which I think is really great because Millie Bobby Brown is a very okay. When we look at different entertainment industry aspects, Taylor Swift was super young when she started.
Yeah.
She's literally one of the hardest. She's kind of an asshole, but she's one of the hardest working people in her industry.
Yeah.
She works very hard. She has a lot of artistic control over what happens in her videos and her shows, how she's branded.
Right.
Same with JoJo Siwa, who's still a kid.
Yeah.
She does a lot of her branding and a lot of her own footwork. Now we've got Millie Bobby Brown, who's 16 years old and comes in and wants to do shit under her own movie label at 16, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder how much it costs to do a movie label, because I feel like it's not $6 million. Like, I feel like
No, I'm sure it's not.
I feel like you could easily start it, but just no child has ever been like.
I want to start my own movie label.
Yeah, like
right.
it was just for a while. Well, I mean, for up until now, not for a while. Up until like the last 20 years, it's been, children can do the acting, but it's adults that do the work.
Well, and a lot of that was under confinement of child labor laws.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, we're seeing, especially with the pandemic, we're seeing a huge shift right now in the movie industry in and of itself, because it used to be Hollywood. Hollywood was it. If you didn't make it to Hollywood, you were not anything. Unless you were on TV. Yes, unless you were on TV, and that's what you wanted to do.
But we're seeing a lot of Hollywood crumble right now.
Now we're seeing a lot of these streaming services, Netflix, Amazon, Disney, HBO.
With their own studios and their own labels.
Yes, and they are, and these bigger names like Millie Bobby Brown, Henry Cavill, Helena Bonham Carter, they're going to these studios and they're like, I mean, I'm not really worried about the paycheck.
I think it's about getting back to art.
Fun.
Yeah, I think it's about getting back into doing what they love, because there's less restrictions in how they create their art, and that's what people needed. That's what these actors needed. It's not being just a job, like I'm going to do this, I'm going to get paid for it, whatever.
Yeah.
Now they're like, ooh, look at this story. The story looks amazing. Let's do it.
Yeah, and it's not, and you don't have the huge politics that Hollywood has. Now it's going back to what acting in movies was supposed to be, and what it was in the beginning, and what it was throughout the 80s.
Well, not only that, you don't have the controversy of Hollywood. A lot of people are stepping away from Hollywood because there's so much ick happening in that area.
And this is
and they want to move.
The pandemic was definitely not a planned thing.
Right, but there's a lot of people moving away from like the cancer of Hollywood.
Yeah.
They're moving away from it to trusted places that have more restrictions on how people interact with each other. There's safety protocols for kids. The fact that we know that things have happened in Hollywood, and they're avoiding those things.
Yeah.
And
it's a
whole new world for movies.
It's a safer environment for
women and kids.
Yes, for these actors to, be in their craft. And it's not. I mean, you don't initially go into acting for the money.
No, you go because it's fun.
You go into acting because that's what you want to do. That's your passion.
Yes.
And a lot of these actors, we've seen a lot of big name actors going into these smaller studios and saying, "Oh, you're only going to pay me
for me?
You're only paying me $9 million to star in a movie that I can act in and have fun and not be risky."
Right. Yeah, but look at Stranger Things. Like, Winona Ryder. I know that she's older and she's had a lot of controversy in her life and whatever. She's still a huge name in Hollywood. And the fact that she was like, I'm going to do this. And this is fun.
Look at Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
In Six Underground.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Look at
Will Smith.
Chris Hemsworth.
Both of them. Will Smith is older.
Well, no, like Ryan Reynolds, Will Smith, Samuel L. Jackson.
Chris Hemsworth.
No.
Oh.
For what I'm about to say.
Oh. Okay.
And then Vin Diesel. They all just they back the movies that they're in.
Yeah.
They want to see them.
They want to see it made.
They don't want to get paid. They want to pay the movie so that they can see a cool movie come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it because of the love of the art. The art. Yes.
Ryan Reynolds struggled with like 17 years to get Deadpool an actual shot and make it look good.
Yeah.
And he did amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're starting to see more of that coming out of all of these streaming services that have these, yes, they are smaller studios, and they are right in between Hollywood and independent films. They have the money to be able to entice these big-name actors, but the big-name actors
they
are like...
independent studios. They're just not indie studios.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean...
Not Greenlight Studios.
Right. Legendary is not... Legendary Pictures is... First and foremost, a phenomenal studio.
These are not Sundance Studios.
Which is B.
Yes, these are not indie Sundance Greenlight Studios.
They're also not MGM and Universal and stuff like that. These are studios that are, we have the money to back this movie, but we only can do this much, but we can take these restrictions off that Hollywood would give you, and you can make the movie that you want within these, you know,
we're not going to be able to send it to a theater, but we could put it on Netflix and have way more audience.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that you even see in this movie is even though it's in the 1800s, the cast list is still diverse.
Yeah.
Because they weren't because it was even though it was the 1800s, they weren't going to not give people shots at the limelight.
Right, like the trainer.
Yeah.
Who's obviously a black woman and
Very
would obviously not have the same rights as a woman and as a black woman in society. But
okay, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to kind of hold you back there for a second. Because this is in England, not in America.
This is true.
Yeah.
In England,
freedoms are different.
Black people had the same rights, essentially, as white people. They weren't looked down upon as much as they were in America. Because in America, they were slaves for so long.
Yeah.
And then when they got their freedom, they still weren't looked at as
equal.
Whereas in England, it was a little different. However, you are correct with the fact
but she's
that
still a business owner and a powerful woman in society.
Yes.
And there was a
she could kick some.
Oh my God! Yeah, she's there.
They are a bit. Obviously, they're a bit different over there.
Yeah.
It's throughout their culture. But like what do you call it? The boarding house?
Yes.
It's like it's the most diverse scenes in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Is these boarding houses with, even though these probably cost a lot of money, there's so many different people going there and like.
Yeah, I mean, you had Indian from India. Because of the
I don't know why a native in the 1800s would be over there.
Yeah, probably not.
No, so you had Indian, you had black, you had
Asian,
white, you had Asian.
Or like different Asian, but yeah.
Yeah. So you're right. There was a huge diversity within this boarding school.
And if it was a movie at any other time, they probably would have been like, well, it was England, it's English, so white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
they don't do this movie.
The thing is we have to look at, again, the time period was the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, England still occupied India.
No, I mean like the movie people could have been like.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I'm saying that's why you have that diversity.
Yeah.
And that England then was what America's supposed to be now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like the movie people could have done this very differently.
Yeah. And they didn't.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a lot to do with.
There have been movies that
Legendary Pictures.
And Netflix.
Yeah.
There's such a more open.
They're not being mainstream.
Yeah, there's such a more open concept with their movies, and the fact that they're not releasing them to theaters, they're going straight to Netflix, who has a huge amount of freedom in what they release. And yet this movie was 100% family friendly. Like, there was nothing in this movie that no other person in our house.
I think Katie, if she didn't watch it, I think she would love it if she did, just because of, number one, Millie Bobby Brown, because she just loves her.
Yeah.
But the fact of the way that the movie was written and how it's done.
Yeah, and it's a strong. And everybody except Hollywood can do this well. It is a strong female empowerment movie.
It is, but it's not a strong female empowerment movie in your face.
Yeah, which is what Hollywood does. Where
It's a
it's either not there and people are being mistreated, or it's overpoweringly there.
Yeah, well, this movie is a great one for girls in that age group because it's back to like when we were kids. When we would watch movies and imagine ourselves being that person.
Yeah.
Because you could imagine yourself being that person. And they can with this movie. It's not overwhelmingly women's empowerment. It's like, I would love to be this girl. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're finally at a point because of independent films, not because of any change in Hollywood. I think we're finally at a point to where these movies can just be normal.
Yeah.
Like it's just a movie.
It's just fun.
You can include these things. You can include these subjects that need to have a voice without it being in your face.
It's kind of like going back to the 80s.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
the message was there.
Yeah.
It just wasn't thrown in your face.
Right.
It was like the after-school specials where you would watch the whole thing, and then they would come back later and be like, "What did you learn today?"
Yeah. It's a lot of, we're going to write this movie, and this is part of the movie, but this isn't the focus of the movie.
Yeah,
Like,
and it was something that was happening at that time too, so they were able to fit it in even with Sherlock's timeline.
Yeah, and it was absolutely, it was perfect the way that they incorporated it into the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Can we talk about the fact that when I first heard about it, I love Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
Like, I would have watched it anyway, but I was like, I don't know. A Sherlock Holmes sister, I don't know. She did so amazingly well in this role as a kid, being just free to do her craft.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy story arc in the BBC show. This was very much different.
Yeah.
It was very much like, hi, I'm Enola Holmes, and I'm the sister of Sherlock Holmes, but this is a movie about me.
Yeah.
Whereas that is just like, let me introduce you to the person that I wanted to bring into the show for some reason, so that we can have a crazy bitch that's super smart.
Yeah.
Because that's all she was. That's all she was. They were like, oh yeah,
She's insane, but she's smart.
We have a sister. We're gonna go see her on this island. Oh, she got us. And that was like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I also love the fact that I am probably by far in this house one of the biggest critics of Henry Cavill.
I think I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I think I'm just the not.
I everything I've seen him in, I'm just like, I don't care. I don't like it. I don't care.
I think there's a big problem with what he's chosen as casting as well, what he's picked up and what the directors have given him.
Yeah.
Because Superman's one of those things where, like, if you look at, like, Superman 2 back in the whatever.
80s?
Yeah.
Back in the whatever. Like 4 times.
There's that, and then there's even the one before that.
There's not one before that.
Superman Returns. Superman Returns.
No, I mean, there's a Superman before that, too. Dry, stiff boards, right? And then you have the cartoon.
This was on the dry stiff board?
He was.
The cartoon, the actual like Justice League cartoon, all of them were dry stiff boards because of their animation. And so you have all these things that you draw from that are like.
Well, Superman's kind of egotistical.
Yeah.
He's this. The Superman character himself is this. I'm better than everybody else. I know it, but I can't know it because then I could become.
Yeah, he's ignorantly arrogant.
But his alter ego wasn't, and so that was where I had the issue with Henry Cavill, was because he couldn't switch roles. He couldn't switch roles, and I hated the roles he did. It wasn't just Superman, but just really any role that I had watched him in.
Took up Geralt, who is super dry humored, and it was a stupid show to
The Witcher.
The Witcher to show up as a show, and the way they wanted to pace it was a bad idea.
It was boring and really hard to follow.
That's the game. Like the games can be super fun. I've never played them, but I know that the games can be super fun. But that is the game. It's a lot of traveling, it's a lot of talking, and it's a lot of Geralt not talking. And then they wanted to make a show about it, and then they also wanted to put a person that matches that, but can't bring anything more to it.
Yeah, it was
with Henry Cavill, and
his
it's like
roles were just. I hate
fine.
it. But then this movie came out, and I'm not gonna lie.
So
I had a lot of fun watching Henry Cavill, and I was
That's-
like, there you are.
So this is the second reason right here I wanted to watch the movie. I wanted because I
was really
so
pissed. I hate it because of him.
I so want to give Henry Cavill a chance. I do because when I watch
he's
it,
like a fun guy, like in
when
real life.
yeah, exactly. And that's
Maybe.
why when I watch the Superman, I'm like, but Henry Cavill, I know you can give me more. I'm watching it
He has
with
such a
I really did.
charismatic face.
I
yeah.
really didn't feel that way.
But I did,
Really
you
well.
know, and I was like, okay, I chalked it up to bad writing, and I chalked it up to DC live
I
action.
didn't. I chalked it up to
And then I saw him.
Yeah, you have Man of Steel, like from Man of Steel,
God,
with
fucking
Suicide
horrible.
Squad and Justice League going around it, like
Yeah, it
I
was
wasn't
just,
gonna blame him anyway.
no. But then you had him in as Geralt in The Witcher,
Mhm.
and I'm looking, I'm like, I know that's the character you're supposed to be, and I
Mhm.
get it, but I need
Yeah,
more from you.
If anyone else played it, they'd either be playing it wrong or they'd be playing it right, and you'd still hate it.
Yeah.
But that's just who Geralt is, and it's
Yes.
like, why do people like this person?
And then we get him in Enola Holmes.
Mhm.
He's not a main character.
No,
Wait, okay, so he's a main side
He's
character.
not a main
Yeah.
focus.
he's
Not
a,
main
he's a star. He's a starring role, but he's not a
Yeah.
character. He's not the main
No,
character.
he's a supporting role.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, and when I first saw him in the preview, I was like, I know that's Superman, but I don't see Superman. So
No.
when I saw him, okay, so when I saw Henry Cavill in The Witcher and in the DC movies, I saw this look on his face. I mean, you could see that all of his acting essence was drained from him.
Yeah.
When you see him in this movie, it looks like the life had been brought back to his face. It looked like he was sick in those other movies, and he's got the color back in his face in this movie. And you can see that he's kind of having fun playing Sherlock Holmes.
Well, so when I watch like Justice League and stuff like that he's in, I literally see Henry Cavill. Okay, like that's who I associate now. That's Henry Cavill. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
When I watched this movie, I literally forgot it was Henry Cavill.
Now, see,
It's Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I literally forgot it was him, and I watched it, and Dan and Austin both, we all three had the same moment in the movie that I physically smiled and giggled, and it was like, oh, that's my favorite part ever.
yes.
Because
I
he
laughed at
laughed,
that,
he like
yeah.
he guffawed out loud, had a big giant grin on his face, and I was like,
Come on.
that was the best moment, and I was like,
And that's
that's
why,
what you needed.
and that's why I'm so glad they cast him in this movie, because that's the Henry Cavill that I have wanted to see.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the Henry
for a
Cavill
long
that we
time.
need.
Yeah.
And he needs. Like,
Yes.
I want to
Mhm.
see them continue this series, and hopefully have Sherlock in it,
Mhm.
because I literally cannot see a better role for him.
Yes.
It wasn't
I'm very glad
lighthearted.
that this. It's going to talk about the ending, but I'm very glad that this didn't end with her becoming his ward, though, because I feel like that's counteractive to her character.
Yeah, I do too. I think she needs the
And
freedom
so
to
I
be
think
feral.
that he should in the next movie. He
I don't think he literally
wanted.
wanted her to be his ward. I think
Well, I
he
think he
did
wanted-
want her
Yeah.
to be
My
his brother's ward.
Yeah.
That was
I
the only
think in the
difference.
next movie there should be more contention, friendly contention, but like more cat and mouse.
Like competition.
Yeah, I think that it would be fun.
Can we talk for a minute about throughout the entire movie, it was all fourth wall break?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, she looked at us so many times and talked to us.
Mhm.
I love that. So that normal.
It
Okay,
was her
so
talking to herself because she had no people around.
right,
she was
just
talking to
talking
us.
to the audience.
Yeah.
Because I mean, she literally broke the fourth wall.
Yes.
Like the characters in the movie did not know what she was doing when she would break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
And so there have been very, very few times when movies and television shows have been able to break the fourth wall correctly and
Ryan Reynolds.
incorporate it. So,
Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, Deadpool movie.
He's in.
Deadpool.
The thing is, Deadpool in the comic books actually breaks the fourth wall.
Right, I'm just saying, like,
Which is why it
That's
works.
just Ryan
He did it.
Reynolds, and then he's
Yes.
Deadpool, and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
He's broken the fourth wall on almost every except Green Lantern.
Yeah.
He does it well though.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's him. And then we get, and I don't know, I know why I'm saying this, and before I say this, I'm going to say, rest in peace, Dustin Diamond.
Yeah.
Screen
And he absolutely did.
Yeah.
That was very recent.
Yeah, that was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
He passed away.
But in Saved by the Bell,
Yeah, Zach Morris would break the fourth wall.
and he did it well.
I
did
know
it well.
exactly what Ryan Reynolds does. Even if he doesn't speak, he does that thing. It's the Jim Hopper smirk. He does the thing where he looks at the camera and goes, and then keeps going.
Yeah.
Anytime there's a bitchy person on screen, he'll look
when
at the
there's some
camera.
bullshit happening, he's like,
And even if it's not breaking the fourth wall, it's breaking the fourth
He's
wall.
straight up looking at the camera.
he's like,
He's like,
shit.
you guys do this too?
Right?
You guys hearing this too? Really? This is what we're going for?
That's
Okay.
some shit right here. Okay, let's keep going.
But Millie did it
Flawlessly.
yes.
And I
throughout
love
the entire
the
movie.
knowing looks. The
Yeah.
knowing looks were really good.
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean, it literally felt like she was talking to not the audience, but it felt like she was talking to you individually. Like, I was sitting there with Miss Angel watching the movie, and when she would break the fourth wall, I'm sorry, but I didn't feel like she was talking to you. I felt like she was talking to me, and I felt the same.
No, because I'm not you. I was like, no, it's me. It's all about me, baby.
I mean, it is a little but I mean, that's the presence that she gets. She brings you as an audience and you as a person into the movie, and you feel like she's entertaining you. Yes, and engaging you.
Especially because it's a Sherlock-esque movie, you're talking about the audience also sharing in the mystery with you.
Yes.
So she's bringing you into this puzzle that everybody's solving.
Yes. Yeah, you feel like you're solving it with her. Because when you're watching her do the things, you're like, oh, she got it before me.
Which, funny enough, was never even addressed in any of the fun facts, honestly.
The fourth wall break?
Yeah.
There's one where, the one that I looked up where the fourth wall break is extremely reminiscent of a show where the female lead would look at the camera a lot, but I never watched the show. It's an early 2000 show, I think.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like, I think it was around the same times of filming as like probably like This Is Us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which
So,
I don't remember.
one of the things that we did bring up on our first break, on our only break, and that one of the issues that I had with it, but if you look at the time period it fits, is Mycroft's attitude. In the stories written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Mycroft is not this pompous, I am the lord of the manor, and you're gonna do as I say. I'm the oldest, and this and that.
No, but he was the serious brother.
He was the serious brother, but he wasn't this pompous ass that went by society's rules. He was his older
a
brother.
free thinker.
He was a little more of a free thinker. He was,
Which is shown in the BBC.
yes, and he was, he's always been Sherlock's older brother, and he's always been more kind of laid back and not as prone to outbursts and violence, simply because that's not how they were raised as children. And I think they mentioned that in one of the books, is that they were raised as children to respect everybody. I mean,
right.
And Mycroft has always held a government position.
And I think in this movie it makes sense because of it being Enola Holmes.
Yeah.
With her mother, Sherlock Holmes and Mycroft are in direct contention with each other, where one took a lot from his mother and the other one did the opposite.
Yeah.
Took none, yeah. And didn't necessarily even take anything from his father necessarily. He just, because I would imagine being the man married to Eudora, you would have to have some free thinking too.
No, he did take a lot from the father, because I remember he said that at the beginning. He said if father saw this place, he would
be turned into his grave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah,
his
if
father
he
was
saw
more
her not being
soft.
teaching lessons or whatever, he'd be rolling in his grave.
Yeah.
So I think for me it was such a harsh character Because Mycroft was borderline abusive with his sister, and she's 16 years old. Doesn't know where her mom is out there trying to find her mom. Has been traumatized by multiple things throughout the journey, and
all he cares about is sending her to a finishing school.
Right, making her a respectable woman and being out of his way because he owns her, basically. And that was such a gross character to watch, honestly.
Yeah, he has all these things that equality hates, and then all the things that just a normal
society hates, like
a normal decent human would hate.
Yeah, I as just a person, I just was like, you're kind of gross. Like,
you got to think that especially the scene in the carriage,
it was hard to watch.
Where she was standing up for herself, and then all of a sudden he with just raising his voice just breaks her.
Yeah.
And you got to think that probably was such a rough scene, probably for both of them.
Yeah.
Both Sam Claflin and Millie Bobby Brown, to be able to film, because I gotta think that he's
pretty authentic.
Yeah. I gotta think that he's not that type of person in real life.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I was in that situation and I was having to act like that and yell at a 16-year-old, I don't even like yelling at my own daughter.
Yeah, it was a rough scene to watch.
And to see him just snap at her and just yell and just get almost violently
angry.
Yeah,
I could probably do that role, but I'd have to go sit in a corner for a while.
Yeah,
and just
get you in your headspace.
I mean afterward.
Yeah.
Just a dark corner for a while.
Yeah, for me, I would probably avoid the character.
Yeah, I would do that scene and then immediately take a cold shower.
Yeah, it would be this. Oh my God, I've actually said this, done this, and you can almost think that those tears were real.
Yeah.
And the fear on her face.
And it comes with good child actors too. It's just like the Pennywise in the new It movies with the kid where he's screaming at him, and he starts crying, and he looks like he's actually he looks like he's having a panic attack during the scene, but they don't want to stop the scene.
Right.
And then they say cut, and the kid just gets up and it's like, good job.
Yeah.
And then just walks off, and it's like it comes with good child acting that it's hard to really distinguish it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that scene could have ended two ways. It could have ended with Sam and Millie being like, oh my God, okay, let's take a break from each other. Or it could have ended with Sam and Millie being like, Millie saying, to Sam, hey, that was amazing, that was awesome. And Sam saying, yeah, that was a great scene. I don't think we need to film it again. It's just the whole stark contrast of how either way it could have gone. It could have been, oh my God, I've hurt this girl, and oh my God, this guy, has hurt me. Or it could have been, hey, that was great acting, that was an amazing scene. You really brought passion.
And I'm sure it probably went the second way.
And I would like to think that.
Because I feel like Millie Bobby Brown is a very, very strong person.
I was going to say, she wouldn't let somebody treat her like that, just in the normal.
Well, yeah. I mean,
so I feel like she definitely probably took it at face value of acting.
And then took a breath and moved on.
Yeah.
But that would be a hard scene.
Yeah. And that would have been the hardest thing to film in the entire movie, because of just the raw passion and emotion that is in that scene.
Well, yeah, not only as a mom, but just as a female, that was a hard scene for me to watch.
Yeah.
I was kind of, without sounding cliche, I was taken aback. I was because Dan knows, I don't like yelling anyway. And so it kind of threw me, because I guess I wasn't expecting it to come across quite that abrupt.
Yeah.
And it threw me off for a second, because I was like, fuck.
I don't remember where I saw the scene from, but I had already priorly seen that scene for some reason. And so I was expecting the scene. Whenever it came up, I was like, there it is.
Yeah. You see, I was not expecting the scene at all. And I don't know why I've seen it.
It was really horrible, though. It was so horrible.
I mean, there was a time when I had anger issues to deal with on my own. And there were moments where I almost reached that level.
There were moments that you did reach that level.
Yeah, and it's kind of, looking at it,
From the outside,
it was,
it's hard to watch.
yeah, it was scary.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, holy shit, like that was, like you almost expected him to hit her.
Yeah,
That's like a snap though. That's like a twig snap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I grew up at times in a household in that environment, and so even though I really hate the term triggered, things like that, but I will say, like, it was enough to physically push me back on the couch because I have been there, and I have been that 16-year-old girl,
Yeah.
literally in the same
like
position, and it hurt my heart to watch because I'm not gonna, again, I really don't like that term,
Right.
but it did bring back some memories for a second, a flash. For just a second, like, I knew how she felt, though. The empathy was 110% there, and it hurt to watch her reaction to it because I literally felt that way.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, like, that was horrible.
Trigger warning is a good term whenever it's used correctly. I feel like this was
Yeah.
a good scene for
Absolutely.
a bad scene for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it was.
But it was very well done.
It was.
And
it should be that way. Like, it was,
anybody from the side. Like, it's just like, oh, shit, okay.
right, but for people who have been in that situation, like, it was definitely, they did it so well that you could literally feel the emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was hurtful.
I remember
I
watching
hurt
the
for
scene.
her.
That was the only scene that I saw while you guys were watching it. Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever I came downstairs, I was walking up, and I didn't even know she was crying entirely. All I heard was yelling, and then 5 seconds of silence, and then, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then I realized watching that scene that she was crying the entire time, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes
And
way
she's
more
a
sense.
good crier. I'll give her that. Like,
Yeah, she's
she
done
did
that.
that well.
She's done that in that movie, in Stranger Things.
Yes.
God.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I'm still watching it.
Godzilla, so.
I'll have to watch that before versus Kong.
So, real quick, before we get into the final act, I want to touch on Helena Bonham Carter's role in this movie, and
It was minute.
I wouldn't say it was minute. She had a fair amount of screen time.
Shit.
Yeah, the screen time,
Small
but
amount
she
of
was
screen time.
she was the impact of the movie.
Right.
She was like the person I was like, I'm finding this person.
Yeah, but 80% of the movie, she wasn't actually in it, but the part she was.
This was absolutely a perfect role for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
This-
not
this
quite
is-
crazy, but not quite sane.
Yeah. This is who she plays. This is the game that she plays.
Yeah.
She plays those strong, except for
Yeah.
she plays those strong-willed people,
Mm-hmm.
or the strong-willed female. I don't like to classify it because she's
She's an
strong
outside of
person.
the box female.
Yes. Yeah, just an outside of the box person, period.
Yeah.
And just in your face, but not like rude in your face, and not it's the this is who I am, take me as I am.
Yeah.
Or
Deal with
you
it.
can fuck right the hell
Deal
up.
with it, yeah.
Yeah.
She something for her, because I've always seen her as Lestrange.
Yeah.
She has aged.
She has, but she's still so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's not
yeah.
like classic
I've
beautiful.
seen her-
She's just
I've seen her always as like a 21-year-old, like very, very young-faced
she hasn't been
person
21 in a long time.
in Harry Potter.
But she hasn't been 21 in a long time.
Yeah.
And the thing is she's never been like this classic beauty. Maybe on the red carpet, but in her movies, it's not been like classic beauty. She's always been such a unique, beautiful person.
Mm-hmm.
That
She reminds me of like a more cutesy Janis Joplin.
kind of, it's just, she's always been so unique to me. Like, just kind of one of those, like Dan said, take me as I am. She is beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's such a crazy beautiful. And I love her for that so much, because every role that I've seen her in, whether it's with Johnny Depp or Harry Potter or this movie, like, I love her. She is so pretty in her uniqueness, and beautiful in her everyday life.
The thing is anytime that I see her name in a movie, I know that her role is going to be
insane,
but
not crazy insane, just like super fun, insane.
But that there's going to be so much passion in that role, and she is such an amazing actress that it doesn't matter what movie she's in, what role she's playing, or what she's doing.
I've enjoyed it.
Yes, I've enjoyed every role that I've seen her in, from Sweeney Todd to Fight Club to Harry Potter.
Alice in Wonderland.
Oh yeah,
Alice in Wonderland. Yes.
Which I didn't know because there's a lot of makeup.
There is a lot of makeup, but she played that role so incredibly well, and it's such a her role.
It is.
And even in this movie, she was wearing, even though like the colors were a bit different than everybody else's, she was wearing a perfectly normal outfit, but like her hair was still just insane.
Crazy.
Like, that's her.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You can see it on
Well,
screen.
it's
disheveled all the time.
Even her outfit wasn't prim and proper.
No.
You know, I mean, it was still a little.
It's one of the most normal outfits.
A little wild.
Yeah,
A little wild.
A little messy. Okay, so we're at that time. So we're going to go ahead and go into our final act.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the final act.
Man, she's 54.
Wow.
Yes.
She does not look 54.
She is not.
She's a hot 54.
She is.
She must have been like,
Damn.
she would have still been like 42
Yes.
in Harry Potter.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to tell
She
you.
looked like she was 18.
No.
She looks hot in the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, yeah. She
Okay.
can move. Like, she was running in all of those movies.
Yes.
Okay. Austin, we're going to start with your final act tonight.
Right.
What did you like about the movie? What did you not like about the movie? Would you watch it again? Would you recommend it?
I've liked it, and I did not like it, and then I would recommend it, and I would watch it again. I'll probably watch it again if they make another one, which I'm assuming they do, because it's a backed movie, and so I'm assuming that if all goes well review-wise, then they can just back it again.
Yeah.
That's not hard.
Yeah.
I really liked a lot of this movie. We didn't get into a lot of them, even though I wrote them down.
We'll do it.
But we didn't get into a lot of, like, there's so many Sherlock Holmes references in here.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite ones that is so small is that you can actually see in the newspaper where it says 2 boys jump off the train, which also says that the man never makes it to the station either, which infers that he's tracking them.
Yeah.
It also says that one of the newspaper articles about Sherlock Holmes shows him catching somebody in the same place that Jack the Ripper was doing his murders, because Mr. Doyle and Sherlock Holmes, as his work, both tried to catch Jack the Ripper. And so that was like a big little Easter egg. And then Sherlock Holmes also picked up the magnifying glass. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he picked up the magnifying glass in the boarding school's headmistress's room. He picked up the magnifying glass to emphasize his points.
Yeah.
And that was like Sherlock Holmes things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then at the beginning of the movie, she said, "A game is afoot."
She did, yeah. The gate is afoot.
Yeah. Which is not his line. You know that that's from Shakespeare. It's from Henry IV. Anyway.
The game's afoot.
And then, but yeah, like there were so many references to Sherlock Holmes, which I love, because I just love the story.
It makes it all feel cozy and cuddly.
Yeah, and it knits her into the story because most of them are Easter eggs or references or things you would have to know.
Yeah.
And so it really knits her into a story that's already there without making it about Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
And then, I don't know, just everything she did acting-wise, Henry Cavill performing amazingly, which, like, emphasized the point of this movie being good.
Yeah.
Because if he wasn't good, then I would have brought points down. The contrast, because of the time period and because it's not about a Sherlock, so the like stark contrast in how Sherlock's attitude is and how
Mycroft's
Mycroft's attitude is, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yes.
And then that they also didn't make her Eurus from the other show where she's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that to Mom either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been weird. And I didn't know where they were going whenever they went into the fireworks shop. I was very afraid that it was quickly going to turn into the mom's fucking insane, but it didn't. So yeah, I liked a lot of this movie. I don't think there's anything I didn't like about this movie. I think that it had a lot of good themes, for modern day, being in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And then a lot of good themes, a lot of good, it's a good template for independent films moving forward. That, if they wanted a good template of, how to throw in things that people need to hear and how to throw in things that make it more entertaining, this would be a good movie to base it off of.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's mine.
Okay. Miss Angel, your final act.
Surprisingly, there was not anything I didn't like about this movie. It flowed quickly. I was really afraid with Henry Cavill because I went into it a little biased. I was afraid I was going to hate it, and then surprisingly, I loved it. I thought Millie Bobby Brown played her role amazingly well.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that she was on point with age.
Yes.
She wasn't trying to play somebody older.
Or younger.
Or younger.
Yeah.
She was right there with it.
But they also couldn't tell whenever she was playing an adult. Because she said she was 22 and they were
Right. Right. No, I think she did so well in this. It was such a good fit for her. And the chemistry between all of them, even though it was bad chemistry with Mycroft,
the acting chemistry.
the chemistry between all of them, from the boy and Mom and Sherlock and Mycroft, everything fit really well.
They even made the maid feel like she was a real
Yes,
character.
yeah, everything was so seamless. It was it literally was like reading the book, and it was just kind of flowing along. I didn't realize how long it was. It didn't feel super long. As a matter of fact, it felt like a super short movie.
Mm-hmm. 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Which was surprising to me.
Yeah.
There was not a point in it where I was like, I need to go pee or I need a break.
Yeah.
There was no point in there, and that's one of the things that I love about the movies coming out on the streaming services. I'm going to say mostly Netflix, is that a lot of times they're just great movies. They're entertaining. This was 100% a family movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There was not one point in this movie that it didn't matter how old a child was. There was no nudity. There wasn't any cussing, graphic violence. It was just.
It was not like a PG movie.
It's a PG.
Yeah.
It was just a good.
It's PG for.
PG-13. Wow.
Oh yeah, for some violence, and probably because of the. Honestly, probably because of the scene in the carriage.
Right.
I don't know. I know so many PG movies that have scenes like that.
I mean, there was a little more violence because you had this adult that was beating up a 16-year-old.
I was gonna say there's a point where he was trying to drown her in the.
I kind of forgot about that.
barrel.
Yeah. The bowler hat man was literally beating the crap out of a 16-year-old.
But she was
They shot a boy.
Yeah, they shot a boy.
But in terms of movies that we see in mainstream 90% of the time, this movie was family friendly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. It was kind of just one of those refreshing stories because it wasn't stressful. It had enough humor in it to keep it lighthearted and going, but it wasn't a comedy. I don't know. It was a good movie. It was so much better than I hoped for. And I have to give Henry Cavill huge props because this 100% changed my view of him as an actor.
Improvement is always improvement.
Yes.
Yeah.
I enjoyed, again, I did not see Henry Cavill. I obviously didn't see Superman because I wouldn't have anyway, but I didn't see him. If I would have known it was him, I probably wouldn't have even put two and two together.
Yeah.
God, it was just such an entertaining movie. I really hope that they continue on with the story. I would love to see more of it. I think it's a great opportunity for Millie Bobby Brown as a producer and as an actress because it is something where, I mean, if we're being honest, girls can look up to her in this role. This is a great role for her. This is a great age-appropriate role for her. Would I watch it again? Absolutely. I would watch it again. I think it's fun. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. I don't care if you're a Sherlock fan or a Millie Bobby Brown fan or a Henry Cavill fan. Like, it's just a good movie. It's just fun.
It wasn't like a mystery movie where you're like, oh man, my brain is racked. Like,
right, or like, oh my gosh, can we just get through this?
It's kind of just happening.
Yeah, yeah. I would definitely recommend it to anybody. I think it's just a fun movie that's kind of needed right now. Like, it was just a break. It's not a fantasy movie. It's not, because you can't be like, it's a break from reality. It's not a fantasy movie or anything like that. It's just super entertaining, and it kind of just, it's like I said before, the movie we watched before this was really stressful.
Yeah.
And those aren't as enjoyable for me, just in the aspect of not being able to just relax and watch it. This was like, I just was just there, just watching it, just enjoying it, and that was great.
One more fun fact about this movie.
Yeah.
I forgot there was more references to Harry Potter in this movie. One of the other ones is similarities. One of them was the importance of anagrams, and then Jack Thorne, who wrote the script for this movie, was the same one who wrote the script for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is the play.
Huh. Nice.
Yeah, a lot of different Harry Potter similarities.
Yeah. Okay, so at the end of the movie, I actually kind of wanted to see Enola go with Sherlock, just because I think it would have matured her a little bit.
I see the reason why they did it though.
I 100% did. But part of me was kind of like,
I think it's more because you want to see more Sherlock.
Well, yeah, but I was kind of hoping that she would be hiding somewhere, and he knew where she was. And when he said, "I want her to be my ward," and Mycroft's like, "Okay, fine, she's yours." As they're walking off, he would go off somewhere, and she would, come walk beside him and stuff. That's kind of how I pictured that ending, or that he knew she was the paper boy right there.
I think it's really cool though that she has this cool thing about Master of Disguise where they don't.
Yeah.
And it actually gives her an edge. He actually doesn't know she's there. I think it's interesting that she figured out a way to actually have an edge on somebody who's so good at his job.
Yeah, and I think that was, and I think when they did that part of the ending, I thought that was okay, that's why.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love the fourth wall break. It was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I really wanted to watch this movie because, number one, I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan. I love Sherlock Holmes. And I really I've been wanting to give Henry Cavill a second chance since Witcher and Superman.
Really just since Superman. I lost him after Superman because I know what The Witcher's about, so I was like, who's going to do shit in that too?
Yeah, I did. But, and in this movie, it was a 180-degree turn from his other roles. I mean, he didn't have a lot of emotion in the movie because Sherlock doesn't.
No.
But the little burst of emotion, it's almost, I compare it to, and this is dating me, I compare it to Spock in the original series when he finds out that Kirk is alive after their duel on Vulcan.
Yeah, it's very much that dry but still has emotion.
Yeah, it's that you're not expecting that emotion, and when you see it, you're like, oh my god, there's the emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all three of them have different kinds of emotions.
Yes.
Anger, neutrality, and then peacefulness.
Yeah, and Millie's actually a combination of Mycroft and Sherlock.
Yeah.
More Sherlock than Mycroft.
No, I think she really is I think always Sherlock is in the middle, and I feel like she really is the opposite of Mycroft, almost.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But I just think it was just a good movie to watch. It was 2 hours and did not feel like 2 hours. When I first saw the time limit on it, I was like, oh fuck, this movie's 2 hours? This is going to be a long, drawn out, boring movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to just fall asleep during this movie. And
Well, I was literally in my bed when I was watching it, so I was very afraid of it.
I actually was
Yeah.
like, don't fall asleep.
Yeah.
but I mean, we watched this movie last night, late at night,
Mhm.
after I had just sat and done 3 hours of homework, and I stayed up during the entire movie because I wanted to see what was going to happen next, because it kept you flowing, and it kept you engaged, and it kept you involved in the movie. And I think part of that was the way that it was directed, the screenplay, and the actors. I think part of that actually had to do with the fourth wall break, because she involves you in the movie.
It does. It's just like humor. It breaks the reality of it. It breaks the tension. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, I'm invested, so I have to watch the movie. And you want to watch the movie. And this is a movie that draws you in.
It's just like children shit, because children shit for adults is the same nerves in our brain for children. It's those things that, like, fourth wall breaks and stuff that engages you, keeps you in a movie.
Yes.
Just like old children's shows, how they're like, where's the path? And it's like, this.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
It's like Dora.
Yeah, it engages you fully.
Yeah. And it triggers that center in your brain that's like, oh, look, I'm a part of this.
Yeah.
Makes you feel important.
Yeah.
It was just a really good movie. As far as watching again, yeah, I would definitely watch it again. I mean, it is definitely one of those movies that you can put on during the day after the kids have come home from school, or if it's a Saturday, or, Saturday or Sunday, and, you just want to spend time with the kids. You can turn on the movie with the kids and watch it with the kids, and you will enjoy it, and they will enjoy it, and you both will, adults and kids will enjoy it on the same level and on different levels.
Yeah, this is one of the first movies that I've actually said that I'm going to watch again. I probably actually will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as far as recommending it, I mean, absolutely. If you're a fan of just good, wholesome movies, if you like Millie Bobby Brown, if you want to give Henry Cavill a second chance, if you love Helena Bonham Carter, I mean, it's definitely a movie that you can just sit and enjoy. So yeah, I definitely would recommend it. And on that note, we've got a few minutes left. I just want to say thank you to my co-hosts for being here tonight, Miss Angel and Austin.
Sure.
And thank you to Austin for continuing to provide us live feed on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And just want to say, support your veterans, fire, police, and EMS. They're out there every day putting their lives on the line for you. And also, as always, be safe, be smart. We want you back here every night that we broadcast on Wiki Curiosity Media. This Tuesday, we are having a Falling from Grace.
As far as I know.
Okay. Wednesday, we are having a Cinephiles. We are discussing the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So that's going to be an interesting show. Note by Note will not be having a show. And then next Sunday, on Movie of the Week, we are not having a show.
Do you know why?
Because it's Valentine's Day, fuckers.
Whoop, whoop.
And then after that, of course, we'll pick up from the next week.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Stay tuned to the Facebook pages for all the information. And I just want to say thank you to all of our listeners and supporters, and I hope you all have a good night.
I want to give a quick shout out to one of our favorite bands, Les Love. We play them on almost every show. Minus Nobody Knows because he plays the music of the week, but I know I play him on my show all the time. So my cousin Steven, part of Les Love, it is his birthday today, and I want to wish him a happy birthday. And thank you for allowing us to share the music of Les Love on our shows. We truly appreciate it. We truly hope you have a wonderful day and had a great birthday.
Happy birthday.
Tell your uncle happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday evening. Super Bowl, if you're watching it, great. If you're not, well, I mean, same thing.
Great.
And you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. We will see you back here on BTS on Wednesday. And for Wiki Curiosity Media, Falling from Grace podcast on Tuesday. From all of us here in the Wicked Curiosity Media studios, we want to wish you a wonderful week and a happy Valentine's Day.
Good night.
Night.
As we leave, we're going to play Wonder Not Good Fences.
Too many plans and schemes, too many people.